Hello everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to photo match a wheel in Blender using only a single studio image. Of course this will work better if you have more images, but you have to do them one by one either way, so it doesn't really matter how many you have. But yeah, for modeling, the modeling part is easier if you have more than one picture. So to get started, I have a few images here. These are by Govad Forged, and what you're looking for is a wheel that's basically a studio image like this. So you have the front of the wheel like this, and then you can clearly see the back barrel, the back part of the barrel, and the front part of the barrel. This is like a must to do this. So what I'm going to do now is in Blender add a camera. So before we get started, what you need is the perspective plotter add-on. You can get that from Gumroad or Blendermarket. I'll link them both in the description. Make sure it is a purchase add-on, however it's completely worth the price. So yeah. Then what you do after you have your camera in, you look at the image resolution. So for me that is 2048 by 2048, and you set your camera resolution to that as well. And then make sure that the background image for this camera is set to the studio image, and then side this one. What you do then is you go into the camera, make sure that the opacity is set to 100 or full, and then press N to open up the side menu and open up the perspective plotter add-on. Then click plot perspective and set the vanishing point to 1. Then what you do is you take a look at how the wheel is oriented. So this would be the Z axis, so you set vanishing point 2 to Z, and the other one would be the Y axis, so you set the vanishing point 1 to Y. Then you change the image midpoint from the principal point from image midpoint to manual, and set it to the center part of the center cap, so that's, in this case, that would be roughly here. Then what you do is with your Z axis vanishing point, you drag it from the top corner to the bottom corner. So it's from the bottom to the top, or the top to the bottom, depends on how you look at it. Then step 2 is to drag the other vanishing points and make sure that they align with both the front part of the barrel, so this part, and the rear part of the barrel, and they just clip it. So in that case that would be here. This is almost perfect. As you can see, it's clipping the rear part here now, and it's clipping the front. And then you do the same on the top part of the barrel. So just get the clip point set up. As you can see at the top, it's also set up properly now. And now the actual perspective plotting is done. Now what you do is you set the focal length to roughly what the image would be, which in this case would probably be around 200 millimeters. With most studio shots it's 150 millimeter plus, and I just like to go higher to start off with, just so I have a baseline to go off of, because you're going to have to change that in the end anyways. Then what you do is you add a circle and make sure that it's rotated the proper way, so it's the same orientation. Then set your pivot point to the 3D cursor, and then scale the circle so that the top and bottom are basically the same size. And then you move your camera around so that the top part of the circle reaches the top part of the wheel, and the bottom part of the circle reaches the bottom part of the wheel. This is just a bit of guesstimation. You just play around with it a bit and eventually you figure it out. So as you can see, the top part is now properly aligned there, and the bottom is too. And now all we have to do is rotate the camera. And because we have the Z axis as the top to bottom line, we have to rotate it around the Z axis until this line matches up with there, and this line matches up with the left side of the barrel. As you can see now, this part lines up. However, this part doesn't quite, so what we do is we just move the camera a bit to the side, and then rotate it a bit more. As you can see now, on this side it's properly aligned, at the top it's properly aligned, and on the side, other side is properly aligned, and on the bottom it is as well. Then what we do is we select the circle that we just made, tab to go into edit mode, and then extrude it backwards, which in this case would be the Y axis. And as you can see, it doesn't properly align there. That means that the focal length is not accurate. So what we do now is we take a look at the circle that we just extruded, and if it is too small, which it is in this case, you have to up the focal length, and if it is too big, you have to lower the focal length. So for that, you just select the camera, focal length, I'm going to go for 220, and then you delete the outer layer again, and then you just scale it again so the top and bottom match up. And you're probably going to have to do a bit more rotation and moving of the camera, but that's just part of it. We rotate the camera and we see that on the left side it doesn't add up, everywhere else it does. So we just move the camera slightly to the side and scale up the circle. Rotate the camera. And as you can see, on the left it's aligned, on the right it's aligned, at the top it's aligned, and on the bottom it is as well. So then we grab the circle again, go tab to go into edit mode, select all the vertices, extrude it backwards, which in this case is the y-axis, and as you can see, it lines up pretty nicely. At the top, on the side, on the bottom, and on the right you can't really see it, but as you can see, it is lined up now. That was it basically. It's quite simple to do. The only logical next step would be to scale the circle so it is the proper size, and for me this would be a 19-inch wheel, so we grab this, make sure to apply the scale, and I know that for a 19-inch wheel it would be 0.4953 meters, and then we copy the scale, undo it, select both the camera and the wheel, scale it, paste that value in, and now it's a 19-inch wheel and it's properly matched. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me in the comments. I will also leave a link to a Discord server, which I will be available to help you in if you do have any questions. That was basically it. I will make another video on how to model based on this, because it is a bit finicky, but overall it's not that difficult, and it's probably easier than just eyeballing it in general. So if you enjoyed this, do let me know by leaving a like, and I'll see you in the next one.